Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. So, we continue on our prospect pool overviews today with the Los Angeles Kings. We have about 7 teams left, including this team, so we're going to knock them all out now that we're in the tail end of predictions and all that good stuff. So, LA, they're obviously a team that has graduated from, obviously, their developing prospect pool. A lot of their guys have fully developed to the NHL. The question of have they developed properly is to be desired. I think they've done a good job, generally speaking. I know a guy like Quinn Byfield, for example, has not gotten there yet, but this year should be the year for that. But regardless, LA still has some solid prospects in their pool, regardless. You start out with Alex Turcotte, a guy who has been in the system for a pretty long time and has taken a little bit to get there just because of injuries. That's the biggest thing with him. Center from Elk Grove, USA, 5'11", 185 pounds. So he's a little bit shorter than others, which could be why he's getting hurt. He won the U20 World Junior Gold in 2021, so that was a little while ago, but he obviously has the World Junior experience. Drafted 5th overall in 2019. Usually, a lot of the high picks from that have graduated already to the NHL, but Turcotte, it's been a little bit longer than that. He played 4 games this past year with the Kings, so he wasn't entirely in the American Hockey League. But he dealt with injuries, and that was his biggest problem. He just can't stay healthy, which sucks. But and you look at that too. LA center core is really deep. You have a insane top six or first three of Denault, Kopitar, Dubois. So I mean, obviously they're gonna mix things around there, but you look at that and that's not entirely too ideal. But obviously, I think Turcotte will get some time in the NHL this season for sure. But in 32 games played this past year with the Ontario Reign, I know it says Kings on the graphic, it's my bad. The Kings AHL affiliate, he had 6 goals, 11 assists for 17 points. He's listed as being a strong two-way player, which is a good guy to have. And obviously, as I mentioned, the Kings, their center core is deep. So it's been a little bit more difficult for Turcotte to get there, and maybe it's just taking him longer to develop, which could be a better thing for him when he finally breaks through in the NHL. And hopefully he should play some games this coming year. Play more than 4 at least. That's the hope. But yeah, Turcotte, hopefully he's not on this when I do this next year. Next up, then you got Samuel Fagemo. Fagemo. I'm not sure I said it. Left wing / right wing from Göteborg, Sweden. 6 foot, 201 pounds. He was an SHL champ in 18-19, so that was a little bit while ago. He's also a prospect who was drafted 50th overall in the 2019 draft, so he's along there with Turcotte. He's taken a little bit to get there too, but obviously he's not as high of a level as Turcotte is. But obviously, he did play some time with the Kings this past year, and it is expected for him to possibly fight for a spot on that Kings roster. He played 9 games with LA this season. Didn't play too bad. I saw him play a few. He looked all right for a younger player as himself. In 56 games played this past year with the Ontario Reign, he had 23 goals, 9 assists for 32 points. Listed as being versatile, a sneaky scorer, a guy who, he had 23 goals last year in the AHL. A guy who may not pass a lot, but has a good shot, and, he can steal goals from teams for sure. So definitely, he's a guy there that's good to have. But realistically, is he going to be an NHL regular next year? Probably not. And that stinks to say because I like him a lot, but you just look at the overall team that LA has. I can't see it. Maybe playing a 4th or 3rd line role, but outside of that, I can't really see him doing much. I hate to say it, but it is what it is. Next up, then you have Alex Laferriere and not Alexis Lafreniere. Don't get it mixed up with the Rangers prospect. He's a right wing from Chatham, USA. He's 6 foot, 172 pounds. Drafted 83rd overall in 2020. He's taken a little bit longer to get there. Obviously, 2020 was a little over 3 years ago now when that draft happened. But in 34 games played this past year with Harvard, he had 21 goals, 21 assists for 42 points. Those are good numbers in my opinion. Not bad there for a younger kid as himself. He was a Hobey Baker nominee. He was. He has a good shot, and he has great hockey sense, too. So a good guy to have there. He's taken a little bit longer to get there, and I would imagine he's going to play this coming year with the Ontario Reign. That is what's expected. But, he's taken a little bit longer, but maybe another year in the AHL, and then eventually he'll be finally ready for that development all the way to the NHL for sure. Next up, then, we move out of the forward prospects and we move into Jacob Dvorak. Dvorak is a defenseman from Liberec, Czechia. He's 6'5", so he's a little bit taller, 209 pounds, drafted 54th overall in 2023. He's going to take some time to get there. Absolutely. He's going to need a little bit more time than others to finally develop into the NHL. And obviously, he was drafted this past year, so I wouldn't expect to see him in the big leagues for a while. In 24 games this past year with Billy Tigri Liberec, if I'm saying that correctly, he had no goals, 2 assists for 2 points. So he's a movable D. He's more defensive. Obviously, you can tell by his stats there. He does need to work on his puck skills a little bit. His puck handling, he does need to work on that. But obviously, you're not an offensively minded defender, so you're not going to see that. You're not going to have the best puck handling skills. But if he does want to make it into the NHL, he is going to need to improve on that for sure. But regardless, I like Dvorak there a lot. Now you're probably thinking, oh my God, how did Nordic forget about Brandt Clarke? I almost did because I was doing this and I was like, oh, he's not a prospect. But then I realized, wait a minute, he is. So yeah, Brandt Clarke, a defenseman from Ottawa, Canada, 6'2", 185 pounds, was the U20 World Junior Gold winner in 22-23. I would argue right now, I know it's going to change obviously when he plays in the season, but I would argue he is the best defenseman prospect in the league right now. I don't know who comes close. Maybe David Jiricek or Simon Nemec, but I think he's definitely up there in one of the better defensive prospects in the entire NHL. And he's definitely going to make a massive impact for LA on their blue line. That's why they moved guys like Sean Durzi. They moved players on that blue line to make room for Brandt Clarke. So he is expected to play in the NHL this coming year. Drafted 8th overall in 2021. He played 9 games with the Kings this past year, so he did have some time with LA during the season. In 31 games played with the Indianapolis Colts, he had 23 goals, 38 assists for 61 points. Great numbers there as a defenseman. As I said, best defensive prospect in my opinion, outside of Nemec and Jiricek. But he definitely has a really good upside there to be a great top 4 defender in LA and an underrated Calder candidate there as well. I don't know if I mentioned him in my rookie video a few weeks back, but still a very underrated prospect for sure. And finally, net and goaltending has been a big thing in LA for the past couple of years. Ever since Quick, I don't want to say Quick like fell off, but like ever since Quick was like kind of started declining a little bit. It's been a question of, who's their goalie going to be? And they've been through so many. They went through Cal Peterson, Phoenix Copley, and they obviously signed Cam Talbot and David Rittich this past year. But the expectation is Eric Portillo should make it to the NHL eventually. And he's actually not that bad of a goaltender. He's still going to need time, though. He was a goalie from Göteborg, Sweden, 6'6", 225 pounds, drafted 67th overall in 2019. So we see guys like Samuel Ersson and Devin Levi already making impacts in the NHL. Portillo, it's taken longer. It has. And I mean, he's taken a little bit longer in his development, which isn't a bad thing. Not really. He should come over and play for Ontario next year, though. That is the hope. But in 38 games played this past year with the University of Michigan, he had a 25, 11, and 2 record, a 3 goals against average, and a .908 save percentage. He has great upside, but he still needs time, and that's going to suck for LA. He's not going to be like an amazing starting goaltender, but he will get the job done. But obviously, LA is dealing with a lot of stuff right now with Cam Talbot, David Rittich, Phoenix Copley. They have a lot of decisions there with their goaltending, so we're obviously going to see what comes of that. But regardless, he's going to take some time, but he should be the next best goalie for LA, if I'm being honest. Not like insanely good, but should be good. Other prospects in the pool, you got Francesco Pinelli, Samuel Halinas, forward Jack Hughes, not the Hughes in New Jersey, not that guy. Then you got Cohen Zimmer as another guy there in LA's prospect pool. And that'll do it for this one. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoy, make sure to leave a like, that subscribe down below. I really appreciate it. Next one is the New York Islanders. We'll get that one out very, very soon. But regardless, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.